Hello everyone, welcome in for another video on 4th and Inches. I am Tyler, and today we're going to be breaking down one of my Dynasty Superflex teams. It is tight end premium. I'm going to go ahead and give you a breakdown of the team on Sleeper first. We're going to assess the team, what its needs are, and then we're going to go ahead and transition into a rookie mock draft for that team and draft based on those needs and talk through the picks as we go. I hope you guys enjoy, and as always, like and subscribe for more videos. All right, so diving right into the team here. Again, this is Superflex, so 2 quarterbacks. It is tight end premium. We're going to go ahead and roll through the roster first. Just to give context, this is actually a team that I was runner-up with last year in this league. So I did lose in the finals. I unfortunately ran into a Lamar Jackson stack with Isaiah Likely, and although I had a very, very strong performance, this team, I believe, put up over 160 in the finals, did lose to that combined 75 points between Lamar and Isaiah Likely. So bummer, didn't get the championship in this league, but we are focused on getting back to the championship round and hopefully winning next year. So starting here at the top, Josh Allen at quarterback, obviously 2 years of back-to-back #1 overall. Josh Allen is, in some circles, the #1 QB in Dynasty. Case could be made for Pat Mahomes. Some have had Jalen Hurts there before this past year. But in my opinion, it's Josh Allen, a.k.a. Josh Stallion, and I am not doing any changes there, that's for sure. Running back, some area of opportunity for the team. I definitely feel it is a very young team overall. Important to know it's coming off a rebuild in recent years, so nice to bounce back last year, and then hopefully we can keep it going. But Rachaad White at running back, he is my RB1 on this team. Obviously finished at number 7 overall in this format. Today is March 6th, and we know that at this point, Baker Mayfield should be back with the team. All signs point he'll be back. They just signed Mike Evans to an extension, so it looks like they're trying to run it back with that team, right? They made the playoffs. They won a playoff game, beat the Eagles. It seems to be working for him down there in Tampa with Todd Bowles. I don't mind Rachaad White going into next year. Age 25, I believe he's going into his 3rd year of his rookie deal. Been a fine prospect, out of Arizona State, I believe. Should be nothing significant there. Solid RB1 for the team. Ramondre, I actually like. He had a fantastic year 2 years ago. He actually played quite well last year up until he got hurt. And so, finishes as RB36, but a lot of fairly solid weeks, some boom games as well. Not a lot of busts other than it looks like against New Orleans and Dallas there. But had some strong weeks. He's the best player on that offense. And here's the truth. I think he got downplayed a lot and fell a lot in people's value because New England was just so bad. They couldn't get it together. Changing quarterbacks every week. That offense just fell apart. No weapons. It was a disaster. And he's probably grateful he got hurt at some point, to be honest. But very solid. I think he'll have a bounce back here. Obviously, they're going to make some changes, probably take a QB at 3. Who knows? They might trade back and try to stack a lot of assets. But regardless, I think the team will be better. I think he'll bounce back. I think people are too low on Ramondre. I don't mind these 2 running backs as my main guys for now. There's not running backs in this class. There's really not. I mean, we might see one go in the 2nd round. I doubt it. Not going to be a heavy draft capital class with running backs. So I would have to make trades or move some pieces around to improve at running back. Now, it's 2 wide receivers, 2 flexes in this league. Obviously, I'm not showing a second quarterback here. I'll get to that in a second. My wide receiver 1, CeeDee Lamb, got him locked up. He's not going anywhere. Obviously, wide receiver 1 this last year. Dak should be back with the team. I mean, he's locked and loaded. Love having him. I actually have CD as my wide receiver 2 in Dynasty, just behind Justin Jefferson. I have Tyreek Hill and Jamar Chase kind of a tier below that as the 3 and the 4 essentially. But CeeDee Lamb's my wide receiver 2 in Dynasty currently. Love having that. Picked up Puka Nacua last year off the waivers. Had him on my taxi. Obviously had to move him for a roster spot. And, finishes the wide receiver 4 last year. Feeling very strong with him as my wide receiver 2. Obviously, he should do very well. I'm not concerned about Cooper Kupp. Puka Nacua is the wide receiver 1 for the Rams. If you don't believe that yet, you will probably very soon. Sam Laporte at tight end, got him locked up as well. Drafted him at the 3-1 turn last year in my rookie draft. Not been a guy to take a lot of tight ends. Needed one. Thought he could come into Detroit and at least, maybe be like a streaming guy for me right away. Hopefully he can make an impact. Turned out to be the superstar that he is, and that was a home run smash for me last year. I have two very good young wide receivers here as well. Chris Olave, obviously a first-round pick. Drake London, a first-round pick 2 years ago. Chris Olave coming off a fine season, his first year with Derek Carr. Finishes wide receiver 19. They had some problems last year, not seeing eye to eye, arguing a little bit, making some mistakes. Obviously, a little bit that's the coaching. I expect them to be better this year. I think he'll be fine. Drake London is somebody I want to do a video on separately. Everything here obviously comes down to quarterback. We're talking about, could Russ go there? Could Kirk Cousins go there? Could Fields go there? Could they move up and take a QB? People love Jaden Daniels going there. Regardless, it's going to be better than what Drake London has seen. The quarterback play in Atlanta this year will be better than what Taylor Heineke was, will be better than what Desmond Ridder was, will be better than whoever was before that. But point being, I think Drake London has top 24 upside this year. He's an elite talent. We've just forgotten that. He's been a victim of situation. He still had some flashes last year. He had a 9 for 125 game. He also had a 10 for 172 game. The touchdowns weren't really there, but if we see a 5-6 touchdown season from him this year, definitely don't mind him being here. Don't have a quarterback. Okay, I had to make some trades. I had to do some different things. I will show you my draft picks here in a second, but quarterback is going to be something big that comes into play for this team. Quickly running through the bench, Chris Rodriguez going into his second year, essentially backing up Brian Robinson for Washington. We do expect Washington to be better. Chris Rodriguez had some signs of life at the end of last year when Brian was hurt and came in, did a decent job for them. I think he's essentially just a handcuff at this point. I don't think they'll be committing much, but a guy I'm holding on to right now to see kind of what happens. Roschon Johnson, similar but different scenario, obviously, depending on what happens with the running backs there. But we expected him to get more time than he did. He's a guy I'm kind of still on the wait and see approach. I think he was a good talent coming out of UT. We'll see what happens. Devin Singletary is an interesting one. Okay, I loved him at the end of last year. Did a great job for Houston. Earned essentially that kind of RB1 role. Damian Pierce is fairy dust now. He's gone. The only problem would be is if Houston makes a move and brings someone in. Josh Jacobs is a free agent now. He didn't get tagged. Saquon didn't get tagged. Derrick Henry has not got tagged. Tony Pollard has not got tagged. Houston's the team that wants to compete and go back to the playoffs and try to win a Super Bowl with CJ Stroud. So they could upgrade at running back. If they took someone in the draft, I'm not particularly worried, at least right away. But Devin Singletary could be a guy that I stream, from time to time. Skip down there a little bit. Sorry about that. Dwayne McBride hasn't done anything, didn't do anything in his rookie year, but I picked him up just in hopes to kind of wait and see as well. Alex Madison was just announced that they're going to release him. They should have Ty Chandler, but Ty Chandler's that kind of scat receiving guy that they'll scheme into the offense. He's not a guy that he's not going to get 15, 20 touches a game. So Dwayne McBride moves into that kind of Alex Madison role and hopefully performs better. Maybe he could be a value, or if he has a spike week, I'll dump him, trade him. Jerry Jeudy, the first round pick that never was, should still be in Denver this year. Obviously Russ is leaving. They have to scheme this guy in. He's an elite route runner. He's just not getting thrown the ball. We've seen signs of him where he could be great. It's just never really happened in Denver to this point. He's played with a couple different quarterbacks now. Would love to see a resurgence. History would say otherwise. But Jerry Jeudy's probably not going to be on this roster for very long. Jahan Dotson had a nice rookie year. Last year, his second year, fell off a cliff. Don't know if that was a Sam Howell thing and only wanting to target Curtis Samuel or Terry. Not sure if that was a Eric Bieniemy thing, but new coaching regime in. He's still a good talent. Would love to see him bounce back. So I'm holding on to him for a little bit. Or if I get some spike weeks, try to trade him on the high as well. Dontavion Wicks, young receiver. They spread the ball out a ton in Green Bay. Not, we'll see what happens here. Not particularly high on him, just given the scenario, and like everybody's getting the ball in that offense. Christian Watson, Luke Musgrave at tight end. Tucker Kraft got a lot of work at their other tight end that they took last year as a rookie. Obviously, they still have Aaron Jones in the backfield, who's going to command a lot of targets. Jaden Reed had a really great rookie campaign. So, although I like Tavian Wicks as a talent, I like the scenario there. They just we'll have to see some more consistent work for him. Trey Palmer thought could take a step forward this year. We'll see if he ends up staying on my roster. I can't keep him on my tax anymore. Mike Evans coming back. I believe Chris Godwin still got another year there. We'll see if they'd have to start working him in a lot this year for me to be like, okay, this is a guy for the future there, and I could feel even more confident going into year 3, pending any injuries to the main wide receivers there. Marvin Mims, similar to how we're talking about Jerry Jeudy up above. Love the talent coming in. Actually, love that Sean Payton, it was the first pick, Sean Payton's career with Denver. Drafted him in the 2nd round last year at OU. Been mostly using special teams, punt return. Has had some, kind of go route flashes with Russ, but they just need to scheme him up more and get this guy involved. Maybe it was a rookie thing. Hopefully we can see him used a lot more in year 2. Same with Pop Douglas. Very similar scenario. It's just a terrible, horrendous offense. Nothing I need to repeat here with Pop other than, what I said obviously with Ramondre earlier. Would love to see him get more work out of the slot this year. Obviously, a lot of changes there. New regime, new schemes, new quarterback. But we'll hopefully continue to be a talent there. Hughes, the bust of the first round, depending on where you took JSN. But not looking good for Hughes. Would love to get him off the roster. Can't. Not worth anything. At this time, you got to kind of hope and see if he has some resurgence here, but Mike Williams went down, Keenan Allen went down, Josh Palmer went down, and we still couldn't see anything out of this guy. He had opportunities where they tried to give him the ball, had some wide open drops, dropped a touchdown. Not a lot of faith here, especially if Chargers take something like a receiver or Brock Bowers at pick 5 in the draft. Just huge, could be a Jalen Reagor type bust. 4 tight ends down here. Don't need all these tight ends. Probably going to have to drop some after the draft just purely for roster spots. That's a discussion that I'll have to take at another time, who to drop. Davis Allen, I expect to be the starting tight end for the Rams, so he could have some value. Tyler Higbee tore his ACL in the playoff game. He won't be back. He'll be starting the year on the PUP. Brevin Jordan might be a guy I need to drop now, actually. Talented. Had some real big flashes when Schultz was out. But they just announced today that Dalton Schultz got a 3-year extension with Houston, so he's going to be their surefire tight end 1 for a while. Don't mind it, but Brevin Jordan's probably not going to be staying on this team. Greg Dulcich got hurt 2 years in a row. Hamstring problems, this, that. They need a tight end. They need an offensive weapon for that team next year. We don't know who the quarterback's going to be, but JJ McCarthy, Bo Nix, whoever, they're going to need weapons to throw to. So hopefully we can get a Greg Dulcich resurgence here. Like the offensive weapon talent he is coming out of UCLA. Just haven't been able to translate in the NFL yet or keep him healthy on the field. Chig Okonkwo is starting tight end for Tennessee. There's just so many question marks around this terrible offense, terrible offensive line. Will Levis improve in year 2? If not, they're probably going to move on from him. But I thought Chig Okonkwo was a guy that could have broke out. He's still fairly young, 24 years old, 6'3", 238, phenomenal athlete, can block as well. I just don't know if it's going to work. The scheme, the quarterback, the situation, he might be a guy that ends up not making this roster. 3 guys in the taxis currently. Kendre Miller, who will be taking a roster spot on this team for sure. I like Kendre Miller. I think, given the running backs on this team, if what I want to happen in New Orleans happens and he gets worked in more and more and more, and Alvin Kamara and Jamal Williams eventually are going to be phased out, which I expect to happen, he could be a guy that earns himself into the starting lineup. Who knows? I might even play him with Rashad Wright or Ramondre from time to time, but I expect him to be the highest ranked running back out of these 4 especially. Eric Gray, Saquon's not back with the team. So I'm going to wait and see what happens. If this guy starts getting some hype and they think he might be the guy that they're running there, great. He didn't do anything in his rookie season. Obviously, there was injuries, things like that. But that's a wait and see there. Aiden O'Connell was holding. The way I see it is Raiders are going to get a quarterback somewhere. They're going to draft one. Could be Bo Nix, JJ McCarthy, something like that. Michael Penix. Or they get one in free agency. I don't really see Kirk Cousins going there. I don't see Russ going there in division, right, from Denver. Justin Fields, maybe. You know, if it doesn't pan out in Atlanta or Pittsburgh, you know, or could we see like a Kenny Pickett, Sam Howell move? That would, you know, that would be a Raiders thing to do for sure. But Aiden O'Connell's not going to be on this team. I don't expect him to be the starting quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders this year. So real quick, we'll take a look at picks and then we're going to hop into the draft. So this team has 7 picks. 5 of those 7 are top 29. It is this particular Dynasty league. It's a old league of mine, been around for a long time. 10-man league. Obviously, you can see that there's 4th and 5th round rookie picks. That's not really a thing in Dynasty anymore. It's more 1, 2, 3. But they just didn't change it in this particular league. So this pick's not really going to matter. Even the pick 39, you know, you're taking a flyer on a guy. What are 3rd round rookie hit rates? 10%. This 5th round pick, yeah, not this is worthless. But other than that, the 203, the 209. So pick 23 and pick 29 in a 10-man league. Pick 3, pick 1, and pick 7. So obviously the 101 and the 103 being the most valuable here. There is some value at pick 7 for sure. And most likely taking some flyers on some guys at the 203 and 209. That is the team. We are going to go ahead and hop into this rookie draft. All right. So, again, just to recap, I have the 101, the 103, the 107, the 203, the 209, 309, and a very late 509, which is irrelevant. So, to recap team needs, I need a second quarterback, if not a third, because I have one essentially quarterback on my roster, which is Josh Allen, and that's great. But then the only other one is Aiden O'Connell in the taxi, and he's likely not playing for an NFL team this year. You know, he'll be back up probably for the Raiders still. I don't think they're cutting him or anything, but I got one quarterback. Okay, I could use another wide receiver just in case, you know, somebody gets hurt or Drake London doesn't quite, you know, pan out or the situation doesn't improve like I think it would. I have a lot of young talent on the team, but some of those other, you know, wide receivers are going to need to make some moves so that they're good flex streaming options for me. So definitely wide receiver. Solidified at tight end with a Laporta. Doesn't mean I couldn't play 2 tight ends, you know, if a Brock Bowers comes into play, things like that. It is tight end premium, so there's advantage to that, especially if the landing spot is great. This is obviously pre-NFL draft. We're recording this on March 7th. But we're going to go ahead and kick this off. And I'm going to talk through the picks here. So first and foremost, Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison. I think these are the only 2 in discussion for the 101. You know, even if a Drake May or a Jaden Daniels like fell and somehow ended up in a really ideal situation like Atlanta or something like that, I don't think they're going to move up to ever be the 101 in rookie drafts, even in Superflex, like this league here. Now, I need a quarterback, but you can't pass on a generational talent like Marvin Harrison. Okay, you know, this could be drafting Jamar Chase here, Justin Jefferson. You know, he's more than likely going to end up in Arizona. Okay, he's going to be the wide receiver there, wide receiver 1 there, day 1 when he puts on his first Arizona uniform. Hollywood Brown will not be with the team. Okay, they have Michael Wilson, rookie they drafted last year. He was okay. He'll play opposite of him. I think Rondale Moore is still under contract. The guy can't stay healthy, but he's kind of working out of the slot and doing those underneath routes, things like that. And they have Trey McBride, probably their best talent on offense right now, other than, you know, James Conner's very solid and he should be there next year. But this team could be pretty good. I think Marvin Harrison is a slam dunk, and I can't pass on a guy like this. So he's going to be my number 1 pick and add another excellent wide receiver to his team. Now, obviously, Caleb Williams goes right after. I will say the guy in team 2 in this league could use some quarterback help, but it's not that bad for him. I know he has Kyler Murray and a few others, some streaming, kind of quarterback twos. He might take Caleb here, but it's very likely that he doesn't. It's very likely he just goes and grabs Malik Neighbors, something like that, depending on the landing spot. I hope he does, because if he does, I'm for sure taking Caleb Williams here at 3. Okay, look, do I love that he's going to Chicago? Not necessarily, but new coaching regime. DJ Moore is there. They could take a receiver with pick 9 as well. They have pick 1 and pick 9 in the draft. They were, a 7-10 team, decent O-line. Caleb Williams wouldn't be stepping into the typical situation that someone does at the 101, right? Typically, it's terrible. And they typically have a terrible O-line, and they can't protect him. They're always getting hurt, and thus they have shorter lifespans than a quarterback should, right? Hence the Joe Burrow problems we've been having lately. So I would take Caleb. In this case, he goes. So this is where I have to make decisions, right? What makes the team ultimately better? Okay. Now we know quarterback play in real life as opposed to quarterback play from a fantasy perspective is quite a bit different, right? Jaden Daniels would have the running upside. Okay. If he goes to New England, I hate it. If he goes to Washington, I like it a lot better. Obviously the same thing with Drake May, just minus a little bit of the rushing upside. Now, if we look at QBs really quick though, Bo Nix, JJ McCarthy, Michael Penix, not really focused on anybody after that. Michael Penix even is probably a stretch. He might go in the second round. I don't think he'll go any earlier than that. JJ McCarthy, Bo Nix, and a lot of mock drafts going into that first round, right? We don't know what's going to happen with Pittsburgh, Minnesota, Denver, Raiders, right? Vegas, maybe even New Orleans. I think the Giants could justify taking a quarterback if you're not saying that Daniel Jones is going to get it done. So there's a lot to talk about there. I could take a quarterback here. I'm never taking a running back. They're not even going to go in the first round. Tight ends, only Brock Bowers in discussion here, or it's receiver. Do I want to take another really good receiver here if I like the landing spot? I could. And with pick 7 down here, I might be able to scoop a JJ McCarthy or a Bo Nix, and if they go to a Denver Raiders type situation, I'm not saying they're going to be elite or great. I'm not expecting to draft Josh Allen down there, but could I draft a QB2? Could I draft a guy that can get up, 18 to 22 points maybe and be a decent streamer for me and put a bid on a waiver and get another guy that I can stream with him later on in the year when somebody gets hurt? Yeah, I'll use some of my fab for that. I could see that. So this comes down to me needing to be sure about these other 2 quarterbacks. Okay, if it was Caleb Williams, I would just take him here. But I need to be sure. Jaden Daniels goes to New England. I'm not sure I'm taking him here. Drake May goes to Washington, maybe. If there's I need more information. We need to see what happens in the NFL draft. I do want to see what happens on their pro days. So for the sake of this, I'm going to say I don't like it, and then I think I can get a fine value at pick 7 down here. So I'm going to go ahead and take a receiver, okay? Could Malik Neighbors go to the Chargers? He could. Could he go to the Giants? Could. Not sure I love that as much. I might even like a Rome Odunze, Troy Franklin, depending on where they land. Some of these guys might just have to get pushed up. I don't think I'm going to ever take a Troy Franklin, Rome Odunze at pick 3. It's probably got to be Neighbors or a QB, but assuming Neighbors goes to the Giants and or the Chargers, something like that, elite talent, I'm fine taking him here. So Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Rome Odunze go after that. Keep in mind, this is only a 10-man league. Those extra 2 spots make a huge difference because now this is pick 13. Right? This spot in a normal league would be essentially the 15th best player, not the 13th. I like upside, right? You can win championships with an okay QB2, right? I almost won the championship last year with streaming. Cleveland picked him up. Joe Flacco, thank you. Right? So it's not crucial. You guys might be thinking, why don't you take a quarterback here if you need one? Your second quarterback's not always that important per se, right? Especially when Josh Allen's my number 1. So if this actually played out like this, I think I might just go for crazy upside in a tight end premium league. I'm going to take Brock Bowers here. Now, my original pick 9, I had traded away to the guy that actually won the league. That's the guy that won the league there. So Troy Franklin goes right after. Somebody I really, really like. I have some late first-round picks in a lot of my leagues. He's somebody I'm targeting for sure. Little less high on Brian Thomas. I do need to do some more looking into him now after the draft, see if it's changed my mind on some things. J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix, go. So that is unfortunate, being at the 2-3 here. Keon Coleman goes. Keon Coleman at this point, especially after seeing him at the draft, he's somebody I am completely off. He is off my boards. I will not be taking any Keon Coleman this year. If you have a different opinion on him, I would love to hear about it in the comments, but I am not going to be taking any Keon Coleman. Probably not a lot of Brian Thomas either, but we'll see. So we got Xavier Worthy here. Adonai Mitchell, not taking any of these running backs unless there's a dream landing spot with some significant capital, but probably not. Not taking Sanders, took Brock Bowers already. Don't like Michael Penix here. Probably could get him at the 2-9 later if it even makes sense. So this is almost certainly going to be a wide receiver here. Malachi Corley is somebody I like. Can't take him here. Kind of been giving comps to like a Debo, but also like a Laviska Shenault, so definitely don't. Pros and cons to that one. Xavier Worthy just came out. Let's assume his landing spot is ideal here. Just ran an electric 4.21, fastest time we've ever seen at the combine. Broke John Ross's record. Has some amazing tape. Also an elite punt returner. You know, these smaller guys are just finding success in the NFL now, right? The Tank Dell of last year. Like, the NFL's changing. So if the board played out this way, I'd probably just end up taking my 3rd wide receiver off the board in Xavier Worthy. Okay. So Adonai Mitchell goes after that. His teammate from UT, both Texas Longhorns here. Then 3 running backs, Trey Benson, Blake Corum, Jonathan Brooks. I fully expect the second round to look a little different than this the closer we get to April 25th, right? The closer we get to draft day, or especially after draft day, because I don't think a lot of running backs are going to go in the first 2 rounds. I really don't, if any. We might see some going in the 3rd and things like that, and maybe some of those will sneak into the 2nd, but I think we're going to have 3rd round rookie running backs drafted this year, right? Jonathan Brooks, probably the best out of this, but the health problems, right? The ACL. Blake Corum, you know, there's like, can he can he be a receiving running back? Did he just play on a really great offensive line where they schemed him, you know, and he had wide open holes to run through? Trey Benson ended up turning in a pretty good combine, but just based on the NFL and the landscape right now, I still don't expect him to climb up the board too much. So Michael Penix goes, probably wouldn't have taken him anyway. So to close out this video in this second round, I think I'm going to end up taking my 4th receiver out of these top 29 picks. And who knows? I could end up trading for a quarterback, you know? We can figure it out. Tez Walker, Malachi Corley, Jalen Polk is the guy I'm completely off now. Xavier Legette, I might get back on the board there, depending on what happens in the draft, but he's a guy that I've been fading. Ladd McConkey, I love. I love Ladd McConkey. I love, I think how people can scheme him in. If he gets drafted to an offensive-minded team, an offensive-minded coach, I love what could happen here. And you're going to see him going way earlier in rookie drafts than the 2-9. He'll probably end up going in the early 2, if not maybe some late first for people that really love it, or the landing spot. Ladd McConkey goes to a Buffalo, to a Cincinnati, to a Kansas City, certainly. He's going to fly up the boards, and I think that's very possible. I think a lot of people love him. He turned in a really great combine, and love his tape out of Georgia as well. So I'm going to go ahead and take Ladd McConkey here, reach down the board a little bit, just a guy I love. And go ahead and pause this draft. So in conclusion, if we're looking at the roster here, Marvin Harrison Jr., 101. I took Malik Neighbors at the 103, Brock Bowers at the 107. So essentially all 3 first-round picks, I just went for who could have crazy high upside here. Elite athletes, all 3. Harrison and Neighbors, certainly top 5, 6 draft capital. Bowers, potentially top 10 to 15. And, you know, historically not taking a lot of tight ends in rookie drafts, but the league is changing. The league is changing. They're using people differently, and Brock Bowers is a receiver more than potentially even a tight end, right? Xavier Worthy, Ladd McConkey, 2 guys I think with a ton of upside as well. Not unhappy with the wide receiver selection here at all. Would have loved to snag a McCarthy or Bo Nix, so maybe I'll have to adjust if they continue to climb, or I'll have to stick and pick with a QB at 3. Especially if Neighbors ends up going to like a Giants, you know, I might have to let somebody else take him. So anyways, let me know your thoughts on this rookie mock draft. This is one of my teams in my for Dynasty Superflex. And that is going to be it for today. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. One of the first videos out of this channel for me. So let me know what you think. Would love to see some comments and give me your opinions. Like and subscribe for more, guys. And as always, take care.